Alright, this is rear motor stock arms. So here, this is going to be our baseline. Now, I'm running all four rally tires, so I have rally tires on all four corners. Now, unfortunately, this is the only time I'm going to be running all four rally tires. So I'm using this as a benchmark for the next one, where I'm going to take the same exact truck, freshly charged LiPo, and I'm going to be running pins in the rear, and there's a reason why I'm running pins in the rear. Now this is a 22.2, which is the fastest time I believe I got with this setup here. Again, still have to do some suspension tuning, so just ignore that for now, especially the front. But one of the things, notice I can actually make those the double-double now. If you haven't watched my video about breaking in a motor, or washing your motor, do go ahead and watch it. I'm going to put the link in the description for this one. But that's how I got more acceleration, let's just say more power. So I actually go through in detail as to the differences pre and post wash of the motor using acceleration times from my GPS analyzer, which is really cool. This is 23.3. That GPS analyzer has a barometric, also measures barometric pressure, so it's all same elevation, everything. But it's really cool. So do watch that video if you have not, and watch the video before this one where I compare a bunch of tires and then I do front motor, mid motor. So the reason why I'm doing this follow-up is because I wanted to use, that's at 22.7, so these are actually pretty good laps. Yeah, they're pretty good. But I wanted to create a follow-up. So what happens with the Slash arms is they have about a 3-degree toe in. So when you flip the transmission, you end up with about a 3-degree toe out. So if you watch that video when it was rear motor, it was so difficult to control. It was trouble. It really was. So not the best thing in the world. So what I ended up doing is later on you're going to see this thing run with rustler arms in the back, which have a 0 offset, but I also had to change wheels. This is going to be a 22.8. So the reason why I didn't run rallies in the rear is because I don't have rallies mounted on the correct offset wheel. That's the reason why. So use this as a base so that you can compare it when I switch to pins in the rear, because I have pins, I have those mounted in different wheels. And then after that, I'll swap out the arms and you will see how it runs. So this is actually pretty good, 22.5. Now I'm going to switch over to pins in the rear, and if you remember from the previous video, the best results, I got the best, most consistent results with rallies all around. But I have to go pins in the rear so that I can have better offsets and have a better test, a more scientific test. But here we go. So same exact truck, we're running Slash arms in the rear. It's rear motor at this time, and this is with the LCG that I made. That's a 24.5. Not the best time. They should get better. But this is the LCG chassis that I'm recommending by taking a Nitro Slash chassis, which is what I'm running, the Nitro Slash chassis. But I do like it. It's something that I recommend you get. I actually like it more than the plastic tub for a variety of reasons. But here we go. So our baseline overall was in the 22s. This is 23.5. So what we're going to end up doing now is I want you to see the difference between just changing the rear tires on the two trucks, and now this is going to become our new baseline for the entire test. Now at some point I'm just going to end up buying rally tires, and that's a 22.6 rally tires, and mounting them on the correct offset wheel. So it is possible to get times in the 22s this way. So the other ones we got 22s, this one we're getting 22s. Our fastest time I believe was a 22.2 based on the other one. This one so far is a 22.6. But consistency really is the most important. So if we look at those times, running these pins and running the rally, this is a 23.7. I think the rally tires do a little better, but still we're not that far off from our baseline between these. So this lap right here, this is very consistent with the other one. It's actually going to be the same exact time that we're gonna have. Now 23.7. Now for the Bandit rear arms, and that's the part number I use, 3655X. The X is usually they're heavy duty, I believe. Now these are longer by about 7 millimeters. The stock slash arms are approximately 85 millimeters, and these are about 92 millimeters. Now I was measuring from the side that's from the front side of the arm. That's where I was taking my measurement from. So if you measure from somewhere else, you may get some deviation. But it makes the truck very wide. So I'm actually running team associated wheel offsets in the rear. It's the +3, and the rear is about 300 millimeters in width, so 30 centimeters in width. So it's very, very wide. That's just under 12 inches. So it's about 4 to 5 millimeters wider in the rear than your normal short course. Now, for those of you that use inches, it's probably about 11.8 inches compared to the 11.65 I believe short course tends to be. For those of you that use inches, usually there's only two professions where inches are used. One of them is carpentry, and the other one I'm not mentioning because this is kid friendly. But let's see, 23 seconds, so not bad, right? It's not that far off from our original runs with the other tires. So we're actually doing pretty good. I didn't feel secure there of doing that double. That's why I did the single and the double. Again, I'm shooting for consistency here. So 23.1, right? Pretty close. So we're just off by a small amount. So the Bandit arms fit. You're just going to have to lengthen the turnbuckles, and it's the same turnbuckles. I mean, just make them longer. That's it. Grab a wrench, just wrench on it, and that's it. So here there's a bit of an accent, but notice even with the accent, not too bad, right? 23.8 for that lap. Now the body that I'm using, I'm actually using one of the high flow. I think it's the HF2 body. That's the one that I'm using. So I kept the same body throughout the entire thing. The batteries that I'm using are the Shorty Packs by Gens Ace, Redline 6000 milliamp hour batteries. So it's the same batteries throughout 23.3. I have two identical batteries. Now we're going to go to rear motor, and this is where it gets fun. So rear motor, now with the Bandit arms, so there's that zero toe compared to the other ones. We're going to start running, and how good is this thing going to run? Well, first of all, you have to get used to it because it drives really differently. I just flipped the truck. So it drives quite differently. But we're running the rear pins. We are running the front rear rallies, so rallies front all around, and it's 24.6. Oh, that's not very good now, is it? Oh boy. Well, for those of you that were rooting on the mid motor being really good compared to rear motor here on carpet, well, after this test, I have some news for you. And before I give you that news, look at that blue buggy up in the top. I hope you guys are seeing it because I did not. I was too late. So one little recommendation before I keep talking about this: don't park your car in the middle of the straightaway. I'm not sure why you would do that. So that's a newbie mistake 101. Don't do it. Get out of the straight. But here we go. So this lap, even with that accent in the straightaway, it's going to be at 23.4. So don't give up on that mid-motor. We still have hopes. Maybe mid-motor is actually pretty good, and it's just the driver that needs to get better. That's always a possibility. So 23.4. Keep in mind that this is the first time I run mid-motor with Bandit arms. I mean, this is the first day I run Bandit arms on this thing. I hit that little divider, 23.4. 23.4, not bad, right? We're about half a second away from say the previous baseline, a second, a second is pretty bad. You're right. There, clip to the side. Ah, man. You know, it drives completely different. That's my excuse. But you saw that little mistake? And that mistake? 22.3. What? Yes, 22.3, mid-motor. Mid-motor can do it. 22.3. Remember, our fastest with our baseline, very first baseline, was actually 22.2. This is mid-motor, and I'm learning how to drive the truck because the drive is so different. But I actually do like it. It's pretty nice. But here we get a 23 flat, which is not bad if you compare it to the other ones. We're still within a similar range. Of course, I'd love to be in those 22s. Those 22s, that's where I want to be, unless I can be a lot faster, obviously. But look at this lap. That's actually this was pretty clean. It was a pretty clean lap. And the clock doesn't lie. It'll tell you if it's a clean lap or not. And that's a 22.2. We just matched our fastest lap from original base. And keep in mind that 22.2, that was only one lap that I managed to get with that base. The other laps were much higher. So 22.2, never got it again with that original base run. Keep in mind that base run was the fastest. And a 22.2. I got a 22.2 2 times with rear motor. That must be pretty good. So one of the things with rear motor is I actually do like the way the Slash handles. It took me just a few laps to sort of get used to it. But once I sort of got used to it, it did pretty good. I would not recommend that you do this and then just go out on a race right away. 22.6. Practice, get used to it, and then run it. And this thing is so nice. So my next investment, and I may do a follow-up video, may not, I don't think it's necessary, will be to get the correct opposite wheels. I may get the +3, or I may get just the regular wheels, and then just get the rally tires. This lap is a 22.6. That's pretty good. And the reason why is we can run any wheel we want as long as it's a Traxxas tire for spec Slash. We'll say mid-motor for the win for sure. Please subscribe if you have not. Thank you so much for watching, and a big thanks to Slash Raptor 93 for mentioning in the comments the degree difference in toe from the arms, Slash arms. Thank you so much. Catch you in the next one.
What? Oh, my hair! My tongue! My rod!